Hey y'all, it is Kat from Kat Southern Charms back with our next video. And I can tell you why I mixed my black up. I have been getting a lot of questions about how to insert things into resin like this. We put dried flowers in here and made this coaster. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to show you how to insert things into resin that will give you less of a chance of having bubbles underneath them. You see, there's no bubbles under these flowers. And I'm going to show you the secret to making sure that that is not very likely possibility. I'll help you avoid bubbles when you're inserting things in resin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to do this two different ways. Okay, and that's why I have a black and a clear. Because people also ask, do I need to, put my black layer on the bottom, let that cure, then put my flowers in? Or do I put my clear coat first, because this will be the face of my coaster? So clear would have to go first, but if you build it that way, you have to flip your flowers upside down when you're building how you want that to look. So I'm gonna do both. Hence, again, black and clear. So I mixed up 6 ounces of just Let's Resin's regular resin, and I separated it because I'm going to put 3 ounces and 3 ounces in these coasters, and we'll show y'all. A pro tip, if you haven't heard it in my videos before, to make sure all your little bits and stuff are out of your mold, simply take some clear tape and you just put it on the bottom or the sides where there might be some little bits still stuck in there, little pieces of glitter like that. It will pick those up so easy, and you're not fighting with, baby wipes, or you don't have to spray alcohol. Just take a piece of tape and it will pull up any little bits that might be hanging out. So there's your first pro tip of this video. But like I said, I mixed up 6 ounces, separated it 3 and 3. I put some black paste in here. And we're just going to pour it in. All right. And where's my alcohol? I'm just going to go ahead and spray my mold with some alcohol to help prevent bubbles sticking to the sides. So I'm going to pour all this in here. And once this is cured, we'll come back. And in this one, we're going to build from the bottom up. So we have our bottom of our coaster, the black. So I poured the black, and then we'll put our flowers in how we want to design it. And then we'll pour our clear coat over that. And in this one, we're going to build from the bottom or the front of the coaster up. Right? So this will be, I'll get every little last bit of that in there, like so. All right. Wipe my stick off so it's ready to be used again, like so. Okay. Ta-da. So that's ready to be used again. Now, I'm not using fire in this. I'm just going to spray it with, I use 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can use 91% or higher is what it has to be effective when using with resin to pop your bubbles. And the higher the percentage number, the faster the alcohol evaporates off your piece, which means it's less likely to puddle and leave a film on your resin. But y'all, I got these dried flowers from Resiners. And I love their packaging. And it comes with a set of tweezers, which is important. But it comes just greenery. We have pinks. We have whites, which I really like doing white on a black background. It really pops. And then we have some more springtime, you know, like Easter colors. So these are what we're going to use to decorate our coasters. There's that. Let's pour our clear into this one. And I'll show you in a second why we say don't use heat or fire in these coasters like this. Because, remember I tell you that the heat can meld your piece to the silicone, and then you have to peel it off, and your resin's ruined. I mean, your mold is ruined. Well, here's a prime example. See that? Stuck to my piece and had to be peeled off. So I really need to cut this out because it's no good. But for this purpose, we're only doing 2 coasters because I want to show you 2 different ways, right? And I'm gonna spray again to get rid of all the bubbles, but I'm also going to use my little silicone tool, and I'm just gonna run it around the edge to release any little bubbles that are trying to gather and collect. Don't want that. I want them to come to the surface and pop. We have some on the surface, you see them, and they're gone, just like that. And I do see a little hair. Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Y'all know I've got huskies. Oh, did I get it? I think I got it. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing here. I wanna run the silicone tip around the bottom, just around the bottom edges to make sure we don't have any little bubbles that are trying to hang out down there. And I'll tell y'all, this is another reason I love using paste. Paste is heavy. Remember my little diagram, and I'll put it up here, that tells you if you use pigment paste, it's like using a brick. When you put a brick down, it stays where you put it. It's not gonna float and move around. It's just gonna stay put, right? Same thing when you put pigment paste in your resin. It's heavy and it helps stop bubbles from forming because it weighs it down, right? So there is another pro tip for you when using your resins, your colorants. Pigment paste is my fave for that reason. I have to deal with far less bubbles when I use a paste as compared to when I use a mica powder. But mica powders, the movement is so fun. So again, remember that diagram. You can always refer back to it. But this is the first part of this. We have our front poured or our bottom poured because we're doing 2 different ways. So in this one, we'll build facing upward. So when I place the flowers like this, I'm gonna see exactly how it's gonna look when I put them down. When I place them here, I have to place them upside down. So I have to flip the flowers so they're face down on this one. So I kind of have to build in layers. Like if I want flowers, I have to put that down. And if I want some greenery behind it, then that will be the last thing I place in this one, face down as well. So it builds those layers from the way it's going to be viewed. Okay, so there we go with that, y'all. First step is done. And I also am going to use some holographic silver glitter. I also have some gold glitter coming tomorrow. And I may use some of Let's Resin's holographic chunky glitters. Y'all, these are gorgeous. And that's what's in here. It's a combination of the chunky holographic glitters and these more iridescent holographic laser cut ones. But you'll see when we get to that stage. We'll figure out our design then. But y'all, this is part 1 done. These have to cure. So for you, it will be a minute. For me, it's going to be a little while longer. But make sure that you drop down, give this a thumbs up. That's free. And by doing that, it helps other people find these videos who may also have been asking, how do I insert stuff in resin without all the bubbles? Can you break it down for me? Y'all know I'm the queen of breaking it down for you step by step. I want to make it as simple as possible so you have a better success rate and far less anxiety and frustration. Anyway, y'all, we'll be back in a few. We're going to let these do their thing and cure up so we get to add all the beauty and glitter. See you in a few. Hey y'all, we're back and we're going to insert our pieces. Now remember we did black because we're going to build from the bottom up. So we're going to put our flowers the way we want to see them facing up, okay? And for our clear one, we're building from the front side up. So our flowers will have to be put in upside down because the bottom is what we're going to see as the front. So for the clear, I'm going to do pink for like a spring-like little design. And for black, I'm going to use white because it really pops. So let me show you the secret to this. The secret is coating, just like drizzling over. And let's start with our white. So I do want to put some greenery behind it. I cut mine across the edge, as you see. There's a little notch here. You see the little notch right here that you can tear across? But I prefer cutting mine so I don't run into issues. Now when you pull these out, they have a clear cover on top of them that keeps everything in place. Be careful not to hold this over your design. When you open it, pieces will fall in places that you don't want. Ask me how I learned that one. So let's decide what back pieces do we want. I don't want that. I think I want some of these little fern-like pieces. Can you see that? So that's what I want to use with this. And I'm simply just going to break, because these are very dry and brittle, and you should be able to break it easily. And I'm gonna drop that down. Where's my... I don't want that one, I want this one. I'm gonna use my skinny little tip here And I'm gonna press this. Oh, this is pretty, oh, that's pretty cured. I didn't expect it to be cured that much. All right, so then I'm gonna break another piece. I wanna put this in the center, and since it's cured more than I thought, I'm just gonna do it that way. Okay, so there we go. We have our back little pieces. And now we're gonna get some white flowers. And we're gonna use, get my tweezers, take that cap off, and I'm gonna pick this up very gently, and I'm gonna place it here between my, and let's do a little pansy down here, and we'll grab another daisy and put over here. Now look at this. I have no idea. I am not a flower person, so I don't know what these things are called. You tell me in comments. What am I using? Because I don't know. And I can tell you, these little pieces like this, I like to save for my jewelry because those really look great in small pieces. So let's just take another little piece here, and I'm gonna reposition because I want my daisies on top. All right, so let's just leave that. I'm gonna set this over here so it's out of the way, and I want to put, y'all, I know it's not just me who's like terrified to breathe. I want my daisies on top. This is not working like I wanted it to. And you know what? That happens a lot, doesn't it? So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these out, set them there. I'm gonna pour a little of my resin in, which I've already mixed up some resin. So I'm just gonna pour some resin down. My stick there. All right, and where's my little piece? Now I'm gonna brush. I want to make sure this is all coated, and I want to make sure all the little tiny bubbles are out. So I'm gonna push this down and make sure it's all coated in the resin, and you're gonna see little bubbles come up, and that's fine. That's what I want. And then I'm going to position these where I want them. Okay? And I'm just going to brush out here so it all smooth and flows. There's some little bubbles coming up. That's great. We'll take care of it. Okay. So now, I want, remember I said I want my, there you go. This is why I like using this on black. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it disappeared. That's okay. You're still gonna see it. Alright. And now I want my daisy, one here. And I'm gonna press down into the resin. Now if you're inserting other things, up here. So if you're inserting other things, like when I did my military coasters and I used the gold like stickers, there we go. And then I'm going to put this little piece down there. Okay. See how cute that is? Gorgeous. Now, I do want to add, I am going to use some of the Opal holographic glitter, but I also have silver holographic, and for my daisy, I'm going to use my gold holographic, and I'm going to use the little sprinkle side. So I'm just going to tap, because I don't want it covered. I just want to highlight around. That's all I'm doing. I'm not covering my flowers. I just want to give it a little shoosh of glitter. Now, let's just do the opal. And I have a little spoon, and we're going to see. I didn't think this was going to work. I don't know where my baby spoon is at. I have a much smaller spoon, but you know what? Let's just use. Alright, put that back in there. We're just going to use a stick. So, I'm just going to get a little on my stick. I'm going to set this to the side. Set it in there. And I'm just going to tap my stick, because I don't want it taking over everything. So you see that? So I'm just going to move some of this off my flowers, because you can move it around while it's still wet. And I'm just going to move it, some of the bigger pieces around, like so. Okay, that's all we're going to do for this piece. And I'm going to slowly cover this. And if you see pouring from the middle, it pushes your glitter out. That is what we want. Ta-da! Okay, so that is all for that. Let me spray it. Okay, this one is done, y'all. And you don't see any bubbles. Oh, I see one. So where's my stick? I see one little bubble. Where'd you go? There you are. Stuck to the daisy. And I just brought it to the surface so it will pop. I don't see any others trying to form. So, that's all good. Okay. Alright, y'all. So that's done. Now, let's move on to our clear. And this one, remember, we have to build it front up. So, the flowers we want to see at the front, we need to put down first. And if we want greenery behind it, we do that last. Excuse me. So, let's pour a little resin in here for our, smooth it out. Ooh, let me get that glitter off here. Don't want that. It's gonna get its own glitter. So I'm just gonna spread this out. So when I put my greenery in, this is gonna stick. And this is all we're gonna pour. I'm not filling this mold up with clear, because I'm gonna do a backing on this. Okay? So, there's that. Now, I said we're gonna use our bright flowers. So, in this one, y'all, we have to be careful because these are going face down, right? So the ones that I want to see, there's that. Let's do this. We want like so. And let's do this up here. daisy at the bottom. Okay? Now, that's that. And what kind of greenery do we want this one? Let's do these. And they're all coming off. Oh, goodness, y'all. Remember I said they're super brittle and dry. Oof. Let me see if I can just break. Wow. Okay, we're not using that one. That is not coming out great. So, let's do this. There we go. And I'm gonna push these down because this is my only chance to get any bubbles that are underneath out. So I'm going to push gently, not rough. You got to be very gentle because these flowers are fragile. Okay? And now we just say a prayer to the resin gods that we don't have any bubbles under the bottom. And a lot of people say this is why I build mine from the top. So there you go. There's a little choice for you to make. Would you rather build from the top? Let's put that there. We'll take this one and add it here. Gently push these down. And as I was saying about the military stickers that I put in, I coat them. Like I'm scooping resin on top of this, I coat those stickers. So, one, if you coat something and you're inserting it into resin, resin goes into resin much easier than bringing something dry into resin. It doesn't transition as smoothly, and you increase your risk of putting a bubble between your piece that you're inserting and the resin. So if you can, it's best to cover whatever you're inserting in resin. That will make everything much better from that standpoint. Now, what I didn't do with this one, I'm gonna do with this because one, I want to make sure those flowers stay down and they don't rise. I want them to stay down. And two, I'm going to be putting a different color back on this. So I'll do that in a little bit when this has had time to set up more. I'm going to put a white, kind of like what I did in the ones before. You know what? Maybe not. Maybe I'll do a pink and add some, well, I can sprinkle my glitter and stuff. See, now you have little bubbles trying to come up. That's what we want. We want them to come up and pop. So that's good. So I'll be bubble setting this, and I think maybe I'll do a pink glitter. No, let's don't do that. We're gonna do a white glimmer resin on the back of this. That's what we're gonna do, because I think it's gonna pop more. That bright pink and the pale pink, it's gonna look better on white. So we're just gonna do the white shimmer, not gonna change it up, gonna leave it like it is. But I'm gonna leave this, and let's sprinkle just a little. Y'all, this makes me nervous. A little silver. You know what? I'm gonna do it on my stick. It's always easier that way. But I want a smaller stick. I want a... Here we go. Alright, y'all. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it around. I just want to frame this. I don't want to... I didn't want to do that. That's what I was trying to avoid, y'all. So, let me teach you how not to sprinkle resin. Y'all, this is definitely Monday for me, I'm telling you. At least you're seeing what not to do. Right? That is not what I wanted. I didn't want all that resin gathered in one area. So I'm just going to shift it around while it's still wet and movable. So there we go. I'm just going to get it away from my flowers. Spread it around. Much better. Alright, so let's go back to just sprinkling. Very gently sprinkle. There. Move this out of the way. Put it over here. Alright. Are y'all giggling? Oh, just like that, really? Okay, y'all. So we're just gonna have... There you go. And you know what's gonna happen? Thank God it's on this little baby layer, because if not, it would all sink to the front of this. And y'all, this brings up another pro tip when using glitter. Thank goodness this is a very shallow layer, because as I said, if it wasn't, all of this glitter would sink straight to the bottom of this coaster, and instead of seeing flowers on the front, you would see chunky glitter, and that would be all. So, there's a pro tip for you to stop your glitter from sinking like that, and it's simply clear glue. Like you make slime with. Yes, that kind of glue. And that's what you're going to do. You're making slime with glitter and resin. It is 1 drop per every 3 ounces of resin. So you put your drop in, you stir it up, and it is going to be slime. I'm telling you, don't freak out. That's how it's supposed to be. So don't be alarmed. It will cure just fine, and it's going to keep your glitter evenly dispersed. It's not going to sink flat, and you're not going to lose your design on the front of your piece because the glitter sank. This has been a lifesaver for a lot of us. So remember, 1 drop per 3 ounces. Stir in your glitter and pour, and it will cure just fine. Now we're going to add a little bit of silver opal to this, and I've already had fun, so why not have some more fun, right? I really just want to tap gently, sprinkle this around like fairy dust. We're in a fairy forest with flowers, and there we go. That's it. And then when I come back, after this sets up for a few hours, I'm going to pour a white shimmery back to this. And then our next step is to pop these out and have a look. Oh, look, we have a piece that's floating. And this is why you added earlier. See that? See my flowers are floating up? It's because I waited too long and I let my bottom layer cure. I should have come back in 2 hours when this was still not cured 100%, very tacky. So when I put my flowers in, I could press it to the tacky black resin and it will hold it down. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when I say float up. You can see here, if you look, you can see that one flower halfway floated up. This purple flower. You see that? I'm trying to get it out of the light. Hopefully you can see that because the overhead lights are not being very nice. But if it doesn't come through clear when I'm editing, I'll take a picture of it so you can see what I mean. That is why we try to insert our things when our first layer is tacky. So it holds it in place. This one is thin enough that it's not going to matter if it floats up. It's fine. There's not enough resin there for it to really float in. But you have to watch because that's where bubbles can get when it starts floating up. Like I said, this one, I'm not going to have to worry about it floating. It's good. This one, I will have to babysit and make sure these stay down. Oop, got petals coming off. Like I said, these are super fragile, y'all. So, this one might be a lesson of what not to do, but you get the idea. Learn from my mistakes, but I'm gonna let this set up. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna pour the white in there. I won't show you that because you know how to back things. You know how to mix up your I'm gonna use mica powder for this. It's a shimmery, it's called abalone shell. It's very sparkly, gorgeous. I'm gonna put that on the back of this, and then in the morning we'll be able to unmold them and you can see what I'm talking about. Anyway, I hope that all made sense. It's definitely Monday. I'm definitely tongue-tied. And we're through with this part. Stay tuned. For you, it'll be a minute. I say that all the time. For me, it's going to be a little while. But when we come back, we're going to unmold these beauties and see what we have. See you in a few. We're back, y'all. Everything's done. But let me tell you, it was definitely a Monday. And we're probably going to talk about more things you don't want to do or not to do when you're inserting things, because I did not give things time. One, I let the first layer set up too long. I should have set an alarm and been back within 2 hours from when I poured it, so I could put my flowers and stuff in without any issue. 2, I poured my backing on here. I said I wasn't going to, but I did. And I already know that flowers floated into my backing. So I'm expecting to not see what I wanted to see like this. This is the example of what to do. And what we're about to look at is an example of what not to do. So we're learning both ways. We're learning what happens if you don't follow the rules and you're impatient, like most of us are with our resin. Hence why I pour a lot of mine at night, so I can go to bed and not be tempted to mess with it. That's number one. So follow the rules. Trust the process. Don't think you can just go ahead and do it. It'll be fine. It won't be fine. And you can see when we look at this from the side, you can see how things have floated up, right? I already knew they were because when I came back to check bubbles, I knew I had some stuff floating. Hence, this little flower right here, I tried to push it back down, but it had cured too much to do that. So I'm stuck with this. I'll have to do a top coat on this, which is fine, no big deal. It still looks very cute. I love white flowers on a dark background. It really makes it pop. But the difference is, if I had placed things while it was still tacky, it would have held the formation I wanted and the design I wanted, not moved around on its own and done its own thing. So that is why, even if I had poured that thin layer like I did, if I had let that cure on its own, my flowers couldn't have floated, right? So, lesson learned on that one. Still really cute though. I love the opal effects. Love it. All right, so let's go to our white, because I know this is going to be a disaster too. Are you ready? Because I bet you, I'm making a pretty educated guess, that we're going to have white in front of some of our flowers. Do y'all agree? Do you think? Well, let's see. Some. It's not so bad, but it's not what I was going for. I really wanted that separation like we have here. And I didn't get that in this because I poured the white too soon on the back. Lessons learned, y'all. This is why even experienced artists still have issues. We still make mistakes, and that's okay, right? It's no big deal. You can see from the side, I love Let's Resin. You don't see any bubbles in there. It's all really clear, and you can see the flowers stayed down. There's no lifting in this one because we did have that thin layer. Remember when we put the flowers in, we had the thin layer. So it's not that bad. What do you think? Still good. Bubble free. There's no bubbles under our flowers. That's a plus. That's something that we were shooting for. Same thing here. We don't have bubbles where we insert our stuff. So that really was the premise of this video. How to insert things without having bubbles, especially on this when you do it face down, because you're really doing it blind. You can't see, you're having to guess, but coating or drizzling these with resin and putting a thin layer of resin on it when you put your flower on really helps prevent those bubbles forming from underneath. And using the silicone tip tool to gently press them to help the bubbles escape, that is really a big key to why we don't have bubbles on the face of our coaster. So from that aspect, we were successful with the video. From getting the desired effect that I wanted, not so much. And that is all chalked up to patience. But let me tell you, building from the facing part, the front of your coaster up, this is the result. You have a smooth front, right? There's no sharp edges. You don't have any of that to deal with. You have to deal with that on the bottom, which you can easily do with a top coat to level everything out. It'll be fine. But that's the difference. You have a very smooth top. Where this one, building from the bottom up, you have sharp edges. And you have this that you can do a top coat to level out, or you can sand the edges down. And what I do is I simply, and I don't think I have one sitting right here, but I just use an emery board. And I just gently knock the sides, the edges down. And then I use my 99% alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and I just wipe along the edge. And I don't have to do a top coat because I'm not digging into it. If you're digging in and filing really hard, you're going to have to top coat because you're going to leave scratches and, you know, you're going to have parts that you can't fix just wiping down with alcohol. So just gently, it doesn't take much to knock these edges down with an emery board. So just gently file it down, pause, spray a little alcohol, wipe it down with a baby wipe, and it's still shiny and clear. It's good. You don't have to worry about anything else. But because this is the top, I need to either top coat, which I will because I have that indent there. And that's no big deal. When I top coat it, it's going to fill that in. You won't see it. It'll be fine. So that's the big difference of building from the front down or building from the bottom up. You can see your design this way, so you can make sure it's placed the way you want, but you can also be pretty good at placing this in layers. Remember, your layer that you want to see up front goes first, and then you build your greenery and your background last. So the greenery and everything you want as a background will be on top. And that is what got eaten by my white. Remember we had those leaves here? That's gone because the white covered it up. So that's what I mean, it went in front. If I had waited and let all that set, we would have a more defined design with our flowers. So there you go, guys. That's how we do that. I hope that you learned something from this and it helped you understand the difference of building from the front backwards to the back or building from the bottom up. I really prefer building from the front to the back because this is so clean and so professional. So once you get comfortable laying your layers down, I think you'll find this is the better way too, because you don't have any cleanup or anything. And this is what your customers are going to see. And like I said, we avoided any lift like we have in this one. Remember the flower, little partial lift there that we had. But that's it, y'all. That's all for this one. So make sure you leave me a comment. Tell me, did you learn anything from this? What did you learn? And let me know, because I'm really curious. Would you prefer doing it the white side where you're building from the face up to the back? Or do you prefer building from the backing up so you can see your design? Which one would you try? Or do you think was more successful? Anyway, leave me your comments. Make sure you like this, because y'all's likes tell other artists this is worth watching. You really can get a lot out of his. So, and that's free. Just go click that little thumb up. Give me the thumbs up, the like on the video. Make sure you subscribe because we have a lot of fun stuff coming. And I have more lives coming for you guys now that I'm working out the technology and understand how to do those. Technically challenged, but we're getting there. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. If you're not sure what this is about, I'm going to post a video here that will help beginners understand the verbiage and what we're talking about. It's the beginner's video. If you're brand new and you're lost and you're anxious, click that video and it will help you start this process with less anxiety and more confidence. Until next time, guys, happy arting. Ta-ta for now.